hey, I didn't see y'all there. Welcome to my next video. I'm gonna be taking you guys through one of my jobs, and that's being a window cleaner. Later in the video, I'm gonna be teaching y'all how y'all can start your own window cleaning business for dirt cheap. It doesn't take that much money, and you can make a lot of money with it, and in a little amount of time. So be sure to stick around for that. You also have to be okay with ladders. All right, so what you're gonna wanna do is get your mop, get it wet, okay? And then you're gonna mop the window. All you have to do is apply the water onto the window. This does not scrub the window. This is not what it's used for, okay? You get an abrasive pad, a very soft abrasive pad, okay? And then you use this to scrub the window. Get the borders, get the whole window, this, okay? Then you take the squeegee. I use the S-swipe technique to start off. You can do that, but I do recommend learning how to do this because it makes sure that there's no streaks on the window the way you do it. I'll show you. Boom. And then you there, 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 and then how, okay? Then after that, you take a rag, a dry rag, and then you wipe the borders. Okay, you wipe the borders, and then you're good. It's that easy, it's all you need. And then you just gotta get a certain type of soap, which I'll tell you about. Now I'm gonna finish the rest of this window and just show you how it is, just speed-wise. And then when you're done with the window, after I wipe the borders, I put a dry rag right here for the borders. And then I use a wet, dirty rag in the front, which means I use this to wipe the frames or any water drops that might have gotten onto the windows, or if like you're inside, you wipe the water off the floor. Now, I love this job. This job has provided a lot of opportunities for me. I decided to live out of my car and travel during the winter time, because I live in Idaho, and so cleaning windows in the winter time can be a little difficult. So I just put my ladders on top of my car, put my equipment, which literally just takes a little bin, through the bin in the back of my Subaru, and then found like a little twin size foldable bed. And I traveled to the warmer parts of the country, like southern Utah, Arizona, Texas. And I knocked doors and cleaned windows, and I was able to travel and make money at the same time. You're not able to do that with a lot of jobs unless you have like computer remote jobs, but this can be a job that allows you to have a lot more free time in your day, because a lot of times I only need to work 4 to 5 hours a day and still make really good money. Another useful skill is to learn how to use the squeegee with both hands, to be ambidextrous, so that instead of me posting here, cleaning this window, than posting here and cleaning that window, I can instead post in the middle and clean both at the same time, like so. All right, so windows that have screens, I like to use this tool. This is a painter's tool to really get under the screen and pop it out. So a lot of times you don't have to go inside the home to take the screens out by lifting the window. You can just do it all on the outside. All right, so I'm gonna be going over the equipment, and I'm going to be sharing them in order from not needing a specific brand, you just need the item itself, to items that I have discovered over the 9 years that I've been cleaning windows, that the brand actually starts to matter, and I'll share you those brands, and then I'll show you the website of where I get these, and I'll put all the items in a cart and show you the price of them all, to show you that it does not take a lot of money to actually get started. First item, rag. Super simple. I prefer getting these. I've just noticed that they're simple, useful, and they're pretty cheap. You can get them on the website in a bulk used, which is what I do. Next item is a mop. This one's a smaller one. You can get all different sizes. I have this one and then that red one that you saw in the video earlier. I prefer to use longer ones just because you're just applying the water, right? And the bigger it is, the faster you can apply it on a window and get going. And then handles, you also order, doesn't matter which handle. And then mops, you know, you're just applying the water. A bucket, any kind of bucket that's long and rectangle like this so you can put your mop in. You just gotta make sure you get a good enough size for the mop so that you can dip the whole mop in. I use people's spigots to fill this up, and then I'll talk about the soap later. And then razor blades. You can buy bulk 100 of these for like $5 to $10, I believe. And I rarely use these. The only time I use them if there's like thick like paint on the window or other kind of things that I can just lightly press this against the window and use it. You do not want to use a razor blade if the window itself sounds like sandpaper. That means that the window is more likely to be scratched with a fresh razor blade. Always make sure you're using a fresh razor blade. I crack open a new one every day. Then you got to get an abrasive pad. I recommend these. These you get off that website. Do not go to a store like Lowe's or Home Depot and get those green or blue pads. Those have a tendency to actually scratch the window. These will not scratch a window at all. Just do not use any kind of abrasive pad on the inside of windows whenever they have the aftermarket tint that they put on it, because these can still leave hairline scratches. So on the inside, whenever you come across tint, only use the mop to apply water and then squeegee it off. And then you gotta get a hip belt or a hip bucket for your mop and your squeegees. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one. I like the big hole with the 3 little ones because I like to have 2 squeegees with me at a time and my mop, and I'll go over the squeegees. And then you need a belt, a tool belt of some sort. I prefer one that has a bunch of these like little pockets so I can put my rag in one, my painter's tool in another, so on and so forth. I like to put a pad in this one. And then also I use this brush right here to get into windowsills. When you open the windows and there's like a bunch of dirt in the windowsills, you can brush them out of the corners, the dirt, and then you can wipe it up with your wet rag. But yeah, I found this actually at a thrift store, so it doesn't really matter which belt you use. This thing right here, I did get off the website, so I can put a little squeegee in there. And then this thing goes with the hip bucket. Yeah. Now we're getting into the items where I believe the brand actually starts to matter. First, we're gonna talk about squeegees. I like to use Triple Crown or Ettore squeegees. These are made out of brass. This handle isn't, but these are made out of brass, and they are super nice, super light, and they don't rust, and they are pretty durable. And I've been using these for 8 to 9 years. And I use 3 different sizes. I believe this is a 14. I believe this one is a 10 inch, and then this is a 6 inch, okay? I use these for bigger windows. I use this one for medium-sized windows, even though a lot of times I just use this one because you're able to retrack your steps while you're squeegeeing easier than the big one. And then some windows, you'll notice the true divides, which is the wooden dividers that are on outsides of windows, a lot of times on like French doors. That's where this comes in. This is a little harder to use, but you just really gotta get in there and learn how to use that S-swipe. Sometimes I'll just do the wipe technique like that, and then use my rag to make sure there's no streaks. And now, rubbers. Out of all the different brands that I have used, there is no other brand that's better than Ettore. Ettore, if you can see that? Ettore, that brand right there, the best rubber. One rubber in a squeegee can last me 5 jobs, honestly, if not more, if you get lucky. I've used other brands where I would have to change it every other job almost. And so Ettore is the best rubber that I have found. And I believe every other window cleaner who's watching this, if you are, will agree with me. Yeah, so you can get all different sizes of rubbers. I believe I get the 18 inch or 20 inch. I believe it's 18, and then I'll cut for my squeegees. And this is where it starts to get pricey. Rubbers are probably the most expensive thing that you will replace. Once you buy all the equipment, your jobs are paying for it. Now, when it comes to soap, I use these 2 things, okay? A lot of times you can start off just using Dawn, okay? If you don't wanna spend the money on expensive soap yet, you can get by with just heavy duty Dawn dish soap. It works pretty well. The only thing with the Dawn dish soap is it creates static, and your customers' windows might not look as good later down the road. They might not last as long. They might not be clean as long. So I get Glisten and Slick. What makes this so good, the soap right here, is that it has glycerin in it. It helps the water be thicker, and so whenever you're squeegeeing, there's less of a chance for it to cause streaks. And also it creates less static on the window, so the window is not pulling in dust or pulling in dirt whenever it goes by the window. It kind of repels. And also it has like a Rain X property to it, to where whenever water gets on the water, it'll just run off. And so customers love it, and it'll allow their windows to last longer. And then this is called Slick, which I put just this amount, this lid. I open the lid and pour it into this lid and put it in with a little bit of this. There's instructions on here on how much to actually put in to a gallon of water, and you don't need much of this. This causes your windows to not dry up as fast whenever it's really hot out, and also it allows your squeegee to glide across the window easier, which means your rubber and your squeegee will create less friction, meaning your rubbers will also last longer as well. And these right here, I believe, create reoccurring customers, not gonna lie. Oh, and this guy. Now when it comes to ladders, start off with a step ladder. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot. Ladders is your preference. I use kind kind of like these special kind of window cleaning ladders. They are very pricey, very expensive, but they're something that I'm just used to. And so you don't need that. You can get the H-frame ladders, which is the typical ladder that you can find. Or if you don't have money for ladders, because those are probably the most expensive thing to buy, start off with a step ladder and just go knocking doors of 1-story homes and just start cleaning those. And all you need is a step ladder to get to all the windows. Start there until you can buy extension ladders to where you can get to 2-story homes, maybe even 3-story homes. All right, so I put all the items that I showed you in a cart on the website that I get it from, which is windowcleaningsupply.com. You should see this ABC right here. And then I put in all the items. And then you got the green surgical towels, bucket, mop, a handle for your mop, a bucket, pads, pouch, belt for your pouch. I only did one 10-inch squeegee. That's all you really need to start off. And then once you start making money, you can get the 6-inch and then also the 14-inch or however bigger you want. I would recommend getting the 6-inch first because you kind of need that more than a bigger one for the small windows. Rubbers, and this is the expensive one, $50 for 12 18-inch rubbers. That might seem like a lot, but one rubber will make you back the cost of all of what you're ordering, and then everything else is profit. You got the glass cleaner, you got the slick agent, and the total of everything is $220. But this website gives you free shipping over price, I believe, over orders of 100. So that's the price you'll be paying. You also get, free shipping over $48. You get a free gift over 100. So you can choose another. So like whenever last time I ordered this, I got another free mop, which is the red one that you see in my cleaning part of this video. $220 to start a business, not bad. Closer to $300 because of ladders, and then once you start cleaning those smaller homes or business storefronts like gas stations, banks, stuff like that, that you can get to, then you can start ordering the taller ladders, getting bigger houses, meaning you're making more money. You can start getting more equipment to make your job a little bit easier, and then it just builds up from there, and that's just how every job is. But hey, let's say $300 to start a business. You can pay off $300 or make that money in 2 to 3 jobs for sure, right? You do a small home with like 10 or so windows, 15 windows, 20 windows, you charge $100. Get to the point where that only takes you about hour and a half, and you do like 3 of those in one day. You work 4 hours, 5 hours, and you make $300, right? Super nice. It is a skill-based thing, so you will be slower starting off, and then the faster you get, the more money you'll make in a shorter amount of time, right? And so this part is probably something that people don't want to hear, but my biggest recommendation for starting window cleaning is to start working for a company for about at least 3 months, so you can understand how it all works, so you can understand how it is to be inside of a customer's home, and just start working for a different company so that whenever you start your own, you already know the ins and outs. So during those 3 months, do as much as you can to study the business, to study how it goes, and then you'll be way better off if you just try to start the business by knocking doors and not really knowing what you're doing. That goes for any business that you're starting. It's always best to start working for a company and then do your own. But that's up to you. I'm sure there's more YouTube videos that you can watch to better learn how to do window cleaning. I just gave you a brief rundown of just what I do, and hope you enjoy.